Hello, everyone, and welcome to the series analysis episode of the Seattle Baseline Podcast. My name is Julian Smith, and I'm with Alex Hong. Alex, a week ago, we were talking about how bad this team was playing and how we might miss the playoffs. And look at us now; we just swept the St. Louis Cardinals. It was nice to see, especially after the Atlanta Braves series where we scored 28 runs in the last two games. Now we go and sweep the Cardinals. We look sharp. We're only one game back of the Astros now. The Rangers sweep the Milwaukee Brewers, so it's a little bit like mixed feelings on that front. But the from the Mariners' perspective, from just solely like games that we won perspective, we've won 5 in a row. Alex, how do you feel about like the overall vibe and the energy going into the Angel series?
Vibes are pretty good right now. Anything was better than what we were doing in the previous series against, Tampa Bay, where we got swept, but now we ended up sweeping the Cardinals. So yeah, things are feeling really, really good. There's a lot of good things to talk about in this series, regardless of the outcome of the sweep. But yeah, I'm just really happy, and looks like the Mariners are back, and they needed to come back, or else if they kept losing, Julian, they were about to be out of the playoff race, but they're still in it right now, which is good. So yeah, good to see.
Yeah, the Mariners offense, they play well enough. The bullpen plays fantastic. The starting pitching, the this is the tough part because the starting pitching did not go long enough for your bullpen, and they ended up costing the bullpen a lot of innings, but they didn't give up much runs, and so not giving up runs means you're still in the game. And in a situation where you really need to win, a 4 inning 2 run start is better than a 6 inning 5 run start. The starting pitching, even Logan Gilbert in that last game in the second inning, no outs, bases loaded, strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. He goes and strikes out the side after that, completely destroys their offense. And he didn't go very long. He went 4 2/3, but he only gave him 1 run to work with. So these starters, they're I'm not going to say that they played well. The bullpen is the one that did play well, but the starters did not give up any games. That's the most important part. And hopefully the starting pitching turns it around a little bit more, ramps it up, goes at least 5 innings, maybe averages 6 going into the final stretch of the season. That's what I hope to see. Offense plays pretty well. Good home runs, good sac flies, good small ball. You're scoring runners that just we had so much trouble scoring these runners in scoring position. This series, that's what they did. They scored them. They scored them via, the bunt or swinging bunt, like the ground out to second base, or all these ways to score these runs, including the sac fly. A lot of sacrifices that happen to score these runs, and I'm really impressed.
Yeah, I am except in the extra innings, I'd say in the last game, I have to agree with you. They were pretty good at that. It's not like this team, because this team in the past, even against the Braves, okay, well, the Braves, we like dominated them. But what I'm saying is a lot of the runs came from home runs, right? And we've been relying on, okay, the players need to hit home runs or else, we're not going to score many runs. But the Mariners, they didn't get that many hits, but they did enough to score. You don't need hits to score runs, right? And that's very important. You have to play by the situation. You can't just we'll talk about the extra innings a little later because that was kind of a diabolical disaster in my opinion. But yeah, I have to agree with you. I want to see more of that. Like if we have Cal Raleigh coming up and someone's on third, easy sack fly, right? Like Cal Raleigh, that's what he does, right? So I love to see more of that. But One thing you did touch on the bullpen, and I did one thing I did like is in the first two games we put our best guys in there, right? We tried our best to win those games, and I think that was the good decision to do. You know, I would rather just put your best guys out there if they're available and try to win the game that's in front of you, right? Because you have no idea what's going to happen the next game. And although it was costly for us in the third game because we had to put in like some other guys for multiple innings, I did like how in the first two games we put in Brash, we put in Munoz, we put in Bizarro, even if we taxed them out in the last game, so to where they weren't able to pitch, you never know what situation you'll be in, right? So that's some things I was a little concerned about with Dan Wilson early in the season, where sometimes I feel like the game is close, but then he puts in a pitcher who's like we all know, you know, bad things are about to happen, right? So I like that aspect. But even then, I have to give a round of applause to this entire bullpen. This might have been the best series they've ever pitched.
Hmm.
I mean, like let's the last game, right? We ran through our main guys like Vargas, Spire, like you know they are out of there. We had to put in the ninth inning in a tie game. We had to put in Jose Castillo. Like you know when, like imagine if I told you before the series that was going to be happening. You're like, oh, we lost. We guarantee we're done
Hmm.
for, right? And then if I tell you somehow he makes it through, we put in Luke Jackson in the extra innings. Oh God, disaster. Emerson Hancock. Oh, disaster. But you know they did their job, and it was unbelievable. I have to give them credit. They did their job.
Yeah. The bullpen was fantastic. They did they give up any runs? If they did,
They didn't give up
barely.
the bullpen did not give up any earned runs. The only run I believe they gave up was the ghost runner in
Okay.
one of the extra innings.
That's it. They don't give up a single earned run. The bullpen played fantastic. I mean, this is stuff where like if this is how your bullpen plays throughout the rest of the season, the Mariners are one of the best teams going into the postseason. That's how good having a good bullpen like this is. And speaking of the extra innings, who in the world is Leo Rivas? I thought this guy was like a contact first, get on base type of hitter. No, this guy is a home run guy. The first at bat he takes back as a Mariner from the minor leagues, home run. The He hits a walk off home run to finish the game to give Logan Gilbert that win. Like, what type of unworldly changes has this guy made to his mechanics or like his mentality to the point where he goes from one of the slowest exit velocity batters in the league to like he's hitting home runs. That part was really funny to me. That part is crazy. And if we have this Leo Rivas going into the playoffs, oh my, is are the Mariners going to destroy other teams? Because Leo Rivas, his contact is still good, his on base is still good, and you add home runs to that, he's going to be a really big part of this Mariners team. He's been one of the better players on the Mariners even throughout the bad stretch. This is going to be really big for Leo Rivas and the Mariners.
Yeah, it's a good thing he's here because let's quickly talk about Cole Young. He has been really struggling lately. I mean, we talked about this in the last episode as well, but his showing in the extra innings was a failed sacrifice bunt, which obviously that's a disaster, and then a ground into double play with the bases loaded. So, I mean, he's just not cutting it right now. I I would not. I would refrain from starting him at second base for in the nearby future for the rest of the season. Honestly, I think he just needs to be done. Right, he's just not cutting it right now. He's completely lost the play. Although he was good earlier in the season, I think the problem is that other pitchers have figured out the strategy against Cole Young. Now, whatever that strategy is, has clearly been working because he hasn't been doing anything at the plate. So yeah, I think I want to see Leo Rivas out there more often. I mean, if that means we have to, I don't know, sometimes we like to DH Polanco, but maybe we have to put in Polanco in second base right now because right now it's just not cutting it. Like he is a complete black hole. Like we talked about how this Mariners lineup doesn't have black holes. Well, it currently does have a black hole, in my opinion, with Cole Young. But do you have any other thoughts?
Um, Fantastic baseball. This was a fun like stretch of games to watch. Especially the starters didn't go very deep. You used a ton of bullpen and they barely give up a single unearned run. That is fantastic. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, so let's quickly talk about how the standings lie. Not much actually changed in the standings. So, the Mariners are a game behind Houston, I believe, but they're still a game above Tech, or I know they're a game and a half actually above Texas. So Texas is creeping up, but the Mariners obviously both the Texas Rangers and the Seattle Mariners swept their teams, so they stayed equal in that regard because that's for the wild card race. Um, we're I believe for Houston, this division race is big, and it's really going to come down to the Houston series later on. Because if we get that tiebreaker against Houston later, then that's a massive advantage for us. If we just keep it close against Houston, right? Like up until that series, and then we win that series, I'm pretty sure it sets us up really well for a chance to win the division. So yeah, I think that should be the goal.
100%. The Mariners are now one game behind. That's like if Houston wins or if Houston loses tomorrow and the Mariners win tomorrow, we're tied. Like literally that's how simple it is for the Mariners. And all they have to do is keep on doing what they're doing. I mean, you're not going to win every single game. You're on a 5 game winning streak. At some point, that winning streak is going to get cut. But even still, if you can win 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, just in the win column throughout the rest of the season, this Mariners team is going to be dangerous, especially going against the Angels for a 4 game series. Alex, like what's your thought on this Angels team? Because I feel like the Angels team this year, they haven't been good. Obviously, the record doesn't show good, but it doesn't seem like they've been that bad. Like they're not a bad team. If they get on a hot streak, they'll be pretty good.
I mean, they've been really struggling honestly since the All-Star break, and a big reason why is because their starting pitching's been really bad. Their all-star this season was Yusei Kikuchi, and he's had a terrible second half. Like a terrible, like completely terrible second half to where he's like one of the worst pitchers in the league. So we have to these Angels, it's very similar actually to the Phillies. They do not have a good starting pitching staff at all. So Mariners, they need to score runs. That's going to be big. The Angels offense definitely does have some threats. Not as much like in the past, right? Like Mike Trout, he's been really struggling. I mean not struggling. He's just not what he used to be, right? He's a shell of his former self.
Mhm.
They have some good players on that team who can score, but we definitely need to take advantage of this really bad pitching staff. When the Angels want to get hot on offense, they can. It's just that doesn't always happen, and their pitching usually lets them down. That's how
Okay.
the Angels have been.
Yeah, because it seemed like going into this year, I was looking at the Angels team and I was thinking this offense is actually a pretty decent offense. Like this, because the pitching staff, they have Tyler Anderson, they have Yusei Kikuchi, and they have Jose Soriano. I expected them to be playing a little bit better, but they haven't. So
Yeah.
I think if we can just knock out their pitching staff, you go into their bullpen and their closer is Kenley Jansen, who's clearly on his
Mhm.
decline. He's
He's still pretty decent though. He can close
he's
some games for sure.
but it's not like he's the premium closer that he once was with the Dodgers or the maybe even the Braves. And so I just don't feel like this pitching staff is going to stop our offense, especially with the way that Julio Rodriguez is playing, the way that Randy Arozarena is playing, like everybody from the Mariners offense. The players that are performing, Jorge Polanco's performing. The Mariners have so much good that's going on right now that I think the pitching staff can stop the offense from scoring, and the bullpen just locks it down for the Mariners with the offense scoring a ton of runs. I think the formula to win this is for the Mariners to score 4 or 5 runs and give the Angels no more than 4 runs to score.
Yeah, I completely agree. We need to take advantage of this offense or of this pretty poor pitching staff. And unlike the team we were just against with the St. Louis Cardinals
Yeah.
that escaped my mind, who has a really good bullpen. The Angels, their bullpen's not very good, like I just mentioned, right? Like one of the reasons why we like won that last game was the last pitcher that I believe the Cardinals threw out, he was one of their worst pitchers. They ran out of pitchers as well. So we were able to take advantage of that. Other than that, they were shutting us down, even though they were, giving up like letting the bases load in and we still didn't score any runs, right? So the Angels are not like a team like that, but they have a way better offense. So I think our goal should be I want our starters to play a little bit better than they did. It's okay if our bullpen gives us like one run or so. Giving up no runs in 3 games is honestly a pretty ridiculous task for any bullpen against a pretty decent offense. But yeah, maybe a little more balance on the pitching will probably be a little more realistic. But yeah, I think good pitching and good hitting. And it doesn't need to be elite. It's not like we're against one of the best offenses in the league. In order for us to compete, we have to score like 10 runs. It's not a game like that. We just need to play pretty good on offense, pretty good on defense. The Mariners, they have a better roster than the Angels, and that should lead us to get some wins. And yeah, in the 4 game series, I hope we win at least 3 of those games. And yeah, should be pretty good. I think that's a pretty simple formula.
And like by better in terms of the starting pitching, they just need to go a lot more innings because you really this series you got away with it because I feel like you had the guys in the bullpen that could go out there. You have a lot of longer inning guys in the bullpen, like Vargas can go a pretty decent chunk. Emerson Hancock used to be a starter, so obviously he can go a pretty decent chunk of innings. This series, your bullpen is taxed to the limit. You really don't know how many guys can even play tomorrow because of how taxed they are. And so this starting pitching staff needs to go more innings. Brian Wu cannot be your only guy going 6 innings. That's just how it is. Like you've got to go 6 or 7 innings the way that they were last year. The, Obviously, last year's pitching staff was fantastic. That pitching that we did, there's a reason they were the number 1 pitching staff in baseball. But you really need to get innings out of this starting pitching staff because as soon as your starter's out after 4 innings, now you need to go 5 innings, assuming you're not going into extra innings. If you do, now you're spending more bullpen, right? And so this starting pitching staff needs to pick it up, go 5 or 6 innings at the very least. If they can, go 7. But that's it. They need more innings. They need to prevent the runs, and the Mariners offense just keep on punching every single time.
And one more thing I'm going to add before we end the episode is you're completely right on that because the Mariners, look, their bullpen was taxed because of the St. Louis series, we didn't get an off day. And we're not going to get an off day until after the Angels series. So the bullpen's already taxed going into this series. So this is very important for us, right? We use literally almost all our guys. We were probably going to put Emerson Hancock in there for the last game as long as possible until the game was over. Honestly, we were really out of pitchers. So yeah, that's just how it's going to have to be. But yeah, I want to see the Mariners do well, win the series, and let's keep playing good baseball.
100%. The Mariners have the better roster. Hey, thank you everybody for tuning in. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and our beautiful faces on YouTube. Check out our Instagram. And as always, go Mariners.
Go Mariners.